Hello and welcome to SMTV Live on this Thursday afternoon. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Duncan Gilman.
And I'm Jonathan Sellers.
A couple of interesting social media news things to report. You know, we talked earlier this week about the addition of filters to Twitter, which is supposedly being rolled out in the near future, and then Instagram becoming a place for a web profile itself. But now Facebook is going to beat Twitter to the punch with their own filters.
Right. It looks like they've already developed something to where, with the new iOS update for the Apple software for the iPhone and iPad, they've already instituted new filter systems within their photo editing arena in the Facebook app.
Right. At least for the new iOS edition, the iOS 6, I think, that came out for iPhones.
I mean, how many photo filter systems can you have, Duncan? I mean, seriously, like, do we need more than one? I mean, I feel like there's just so many options now. I mean, why is it necessary to have an Instagram photo app and a Facebook photo app unless Facebook is looking to just completely wipe out Instagram eventually? But why would they do that if they are building their own web portal for people to log in? It's just madness.
Right.
It's pure madness,
It is pure madness when you consider that Facebook acquired Instagram.
Right.
Why would Facebook add filters to their photo app, and then, or to their mobile app, and then at the same time have Instagram be building this web portal for individuals and companies to put all their Instagram photos on?
Because I mean, it would be neat if Facebook added different filters, I guess, to edit your. But then I'm thinking, well, I've got to look at my Facebook filters. I have to look at my Instagram filters. That just takes so much time. I mean, I don't have time for that. Do you have time for that, Duncan?
I don't, and it makes me nervous to think about the future, to think about 50 years from now. When people go back and look at old photos, they won't know which ones are the old ones.
Right.
Because they all will have filters on them. Wait, this could be from 19... that's
a very good point.
60, or it could be from 2020.
2020, yeah, never know, never know.
Another interesting story.
Will we even have photos in 2020, Duncan?
I don't think we will. I think we'll just, we'll have little image banks in our head somehow implanted.
Everything will be like a GIF file where everybody's moving and dancing and doing whatever. No real regular
no
just
still photography. We won't have a need for it anymore.
No need for it, no.
Some other interesting stories in the news that Google is testing, and this actually came up in the last couple of weeks. Google is testing out new looks for their search result pages. And one of them is the navigation up here at the top. I know that the image here is a little bit smaller on this article from TechCrunch, so it's a little bit harder to see. But the navigation up here has your web, images, maps, shopping choices instead of down here on the left-hand side.
Yes, it looks a lot cleaner to me. It looks a lot nicer. I'm just curious how this is going to affect. I mean, also no ads on the right, so I wonder how this is going to affect Google, the way they do business now, and who ranks highest in search results. I mean, it's got to have some sort of effect on it, right?
Right, and there may be some sort of a compromise. We may still see ads on the right-hand side in addition to the top navigation that only replaces the left-hand navigation. But it makes sense because this is obviously this is Google, and so we see that same sort of navigation in other Google products like Calendar and Drive and Gmail. So it kind of syncs up with what the rest of everything else Google does.
Do you think Google's feeling any pressure from Bing or Yahoo or any other search engine sites? I mean, to maintain their competitiveness? Is this why you think the design? I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So why do you think they're making these adjustments?
I don't know. That's a good question. I imagine just to clean up the look a little bit, but it could have something to do with competition. Did you ever see those Bing commercials where they bring people in and they test side by side the browsers? I did it, and my choice was actually Bing.
Whoa!
Am I searching? But
breaking news: Duncan Gilman chooses Bing.
But here's the thing: am I searching using Bing?
No.
I'm searching using Google.
Interesting.
And I don't know why. Is it because I'm stubborn?
It's habit.
Is it because I think it's because it's habit. Yeah. Do all those people who chose Pepsi instead of Coke, did they start drinking Pepsi? No, they probably kept drinking Coke. Coke is still bigger than Pepsi.
Right. That's a good point. I don't know. Maybe we should do a little Bing Google test of our own. Bring in some fellow SMMs and see which one they prefer.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool.
And that's a good lesson for Bing, I think.
Right.
This lesson shows Bing, maybe it's us. Maybe it's the way Bing looks. If people are choosing the Bing results, but love the Google sparse white space look, change something. Bing should change the way it looks so that people will come there more often.
Bing, it's not you. it's me.
It's me, right.
I hate to say it, but no hard feelings.
Right.
It's not you, it's me.
So in some other news on the social media front and the way people find content, StumbleUpon has taken this.
Did you stumble upon this news article?
I stumbled upon this news article about StumbleUpon taking a Pinterest look to their website. And I can pull up StumbleUpon here. Let's go back to their homepage here. If you want to know a little bit more about StumbleUpon, if you haven't used it, there's some great information here on their webpage. But here on their homepage, you can see how it's become, well, go to the login. Let's see if it'll let me back into their main page. Here we go. So you can see how it's taken on more of a image-focused Pinterest kind of look.
Right.
But it's not really working in their favor. If we go back to this TechCrunch report, the StumbleUpon traffic to websites is on a sharp decline, 53% down since the summer. So it's interesting to note that it's really not driving the kind of traffic that it was.
Now, Duncan, that's an interesting point and interesting news article. But as we've been seeing, I mean, I know we looked at the new MySpace layout. We looked at feed. We've looked at what the changes Twitter made recently. Everything has become more focused on photos, and obviously, all these photo filter systems. I mean, it's all about being custom, having a custom look, and really emphasizing photos and the beauty of photos. And so,
right.
I mean, StumbleUpon, obviously, is that necessarily to you something that or a service that needs to worry about photos, whereas like the other services don't? And I mean, could it be a detriment to their business instead of really enhancing it? I mean, obviously we're seeing the traffic going down, but should different social media service providers think about this a little bit more before they jump in face first into this new photo craze that we're seeing?
They might have to, or come up with something that people aren't doing. I mean, if you can think that far down the road, what is going to be next after the big photo craze?
Right.
I mean, a lot of people are actually going into video too. We're seeing that with Tout and some other these short form video services, which are pretty cool. I think part of it is thinking long term enough to see, so beyond photos, we saw a lot of the photo filters, and we're seeing a lot of the integration with photo filters now. We just talked about that. What is the next thing? Is it going to be a photo-like product? Is it going to be something after that? I think that's part of the question that social media platforms have to ask.
Well, I almost wonder if it's going to be cyclical. And the reason I say this is because when you think about it, everybody wanted MySpace when we first were on it years and years ago to be so customizable, so personalized, but then it became too messy, it became too nasty, it became too all over the place. You could change way too much. There was no uniformity. I mean, it just looked awful. And so then everybody ran to Facebook where everything was just perfectly, there was a set, I can't think of the word for it right now, but there was just a set.
There was a structure to it.
For each individual profile, and it looked clean, it looked crisp, and it wasn't as confusing as what we saw on MySpace. But now that the technology has sort of advanced so much, I guess we can create these systems or service providers with beautiful looks for photos. But I think it could be easy for some of these service providers to get too confused and too customizable, just like we saw with MySpace, and everything looks out of whack and everything looks maybe all over the place, and it's just too much going on. So I think that's what we're going to have happen eventually, is that people are going to get too overwhelmed, and I think we might see another phase where people go for more structure once again after they see just too much going on with these other social media providers. I don't know how you feel about it, but it could be a cyclical thing.
It could be, and I think it's also important for businesses getting into social media that there's room for both.
Right.
And I think we see the same thing on the hardware side. You've got Apple, which has a very uniform look that's not very customizable. Everything is kind of the way that Apple wants it to be.
Right.
And then you have Windows and
Android,
and those are much more customizable.
Right.
There's a lot fewer restrictions when it comes to developing apps for them. And I think it's important that there is still, at least at this point in time, there's still an audience for both.
Right.
And I think the same thing applies to social media, and businesses need to embrace that. They need to know that some people like the structure, the rigidity, they like having the discipline of a Facebook look, and some like the customization of other platforms. And if you can get into both, you're going to get that many more customers.
And it's interesting. That's almost a perfect analogy, because the reason why people now are drifting to Android with the most customized is because the technology is caught up to where you can customize and it doesn't wear down your battery. It doesn't take away too much memory. It doesn't worsen the experience, so to speak. And so Apple is now going to have to figure out a way what their next move is going to be, because, like I said, their competitors have caught up to them.
Right.
And so what's going to differentiate them now? How are they going to advance and take their product to the next level? It's just fascinating. And we see the same thing happening in social media.
We do. Stuff changes every day, but that's why we're here. That's going to do it for today. I want to thank you for joining us this afternoon. Keep those questions and topic ideas coming in. For Splash Media, I'm Duncan Gilman.
And I'm Jonathan Sellers. Have a great day.